This is the fifth dimension explained by a low IQ mango farmer. So I want to give a little psoriasis update. Forehead's looking pretty clear. Neck is looking pretty clear. I talked about that in the last video, but just figured I'd mention that here in the beginning. And this has been on my mind lately because I'm in one of those stretches where I've gone 3 days. There's a lot of bugs out here, so I'm going to try not to, I didn't plan on donating blood, but I guess I'm in one of those stretches where I've gone 3 days where I haven't slept just for one reason or another. I was supposed to get on this flight, and then there were these thunderstorms and it got canceled, but I had stayed up late trying to move the new flight. And then the next night I was sort of anticipating the flight and overthinking, and I stayed up also. And I've just been going through some emotional stuff in my personal life that hasn't made it that easy to sleep. And my physical body is extremely tired right now. My mind's very active. And when I first started changing my life around and went into these sort of worlds, I did have a lot of experiences, positive experiences, where my physical body was tired, but my mind was solid, and I sort of let my body fall asleep while staying awake mentally. And sometimes I wouldn't successfully do it right as I was going to sleep, but I'd go into a dream, and shortly thereafter I'd become conscious that I'm dreaming, because the mental exertion during the day carried over into my dream, and there was enough subconscious memory of thinking about it, talking about it. Even me talking about it now, I could put it in my subconscious for later tonight, and I could have an experience. And it really is that simple. And I wanted to touch on this because I think people make it so overcomplicated. They talk about these ayahuasca ceremonies or doing drugs, and I see people have so many negative experiences from that, where it's almost like they haven't let their mind gently arrive to something, and then they suddenly do it, and it really screws people up. And even for me, doing it 100% organically, it's like I really had to shut that down at a certain point in time. But I was eating a lot of fruit and doing, some different things to retract from this physical world, talking less, eating a certain way, celibacy, certain things where you pull your attention off of the physical world can help prompt some of these experiences. But the majority of it really is your mind, and you can be a totally ordinary person in your bedroom, or you don't have to go to a cave, you don't have to wear all white and be, pseudo spiritual or do any of these things. It's baked into your form, like it's inherent in your body. Humans have that, and we tend to externalize things even more so now with the AI and everything. And I feel as though this is going to become increasingly important, but a lot of people have never really, it really shows lately, the world really shows a lot of people have never looked in a mirror and just said to themselves, who am I? What am I? What am I? And stop and pause for a second, maybe think about it and meditate on that. And it sounds sort of cheesy, but it really is. You could live your whole life not doing that. I realize this world is so stimulating, and now even more so with the TikTok and the ChatGPT, and it's just, everything's so dopamine, and people are getting burnt out and overstimulated. Like, nervous system dysregulation is becoming a trending topic now, and it's just sort of, I look at that and I can't help but think back to some of these experiences. If you don't make time to pull back from this world, even just a little while, once every other day or every 3 days or something, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out. And I see that happening to people all the time. And this is the main point. A lot of people, we're all imperfect, and we're all born in sin, and we're born into these physical bodies that have hormones, and we have desires, and we have these sorts of things. But there are things that we can do to mitigate that, to have a more integrated experience on this planet. A big reason I started this farm was to get connected to my food and get connected to nature and get connected to what I think is a little bit more harmonic with what our blueprint, how our blueprint is set up. And I see what's happening with the media, the social media, celebrity, mini celebrities, e-celebrities, and it's like people are just done with it. I feel like that era is over. People are done with it. People are fed up and they don't even know why. They don't even know what it is. And I really feel like it's just they're missing God, or they're missing the innocent parts of themselves that they want to know but can't find outside of themselves. And I feel like you could sum up the whole video with that sentence, but I wanted to say this because, you know, there's a book, actually, I don't remember the name of the author. I think the last name is Thompson, but he made a biography of St. Francis. I think it was just called Francis of Assisi, something like that. But I really liked it because it talked about St. Francis's life, which there is actually a little bit more documentation of compared to, say, Jesus Christ, because this all occurred in the end of the 1100s, I think, early 1200s, something like that, Common Era. So they have his journals and they have his writings, and they have witness accounts and stories, and you come to find how ordinary St. Francis was. But he was also very special. But in his thinking, in his attempt to get closer to God, I can't help but feel like when I read that book, some of the dilemmas that he wrote about, or that his followers wrote about, or the people that were in his fraternity wrote about, it really makes you think. We're all still dealing with those same dilemmas in a different way. You know, we're not all saints, and we're not all sinners, but we're all human, and we have this. Maybe if you're watching this video, you have this innate desire to know yourself or unravel the questions of the universe, or whatever the case may be. And I guess I'm just here to say you're a part of it. Like, it's built in. It's not outside of you. Could become self-realized in your bedroom tonight. You could. That sounds wrong, but you know, the point is, I think you get the point. You're a part of it, and your mind is extremely powerful. And I don't mean that in a repetitive, you hear that all the time, but your subconscious mind and what you feed it, a lot of your dreams, a lot of your fears, a lot of the things that you don't like in life are an extension of that. And you can point that in any direction you want, including understanding the fabric of the universe, or the fifth dimension, or the fourth dimension, whatever. They have all these names, 5D, 6D, 7D. That is just not my experience at all, how any of that works. It is so much more simpler. You move with thought. In reality, you don't even actually move, but it looks like you're moving. Even in physical reality, it just looks like you're moving, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're just aware the whole time. The real you is just aware and watching your physical body and even your mental body move. But when it comes to, you know, perceived movement, your mind is the modus operandi. Your mind is the modus operandi. And when you're out of body, you move immediately with thought. It's not like when you're in your physical body. I said this in the last video. I have to think about coming to clean up the mango farm for 10-20 minutes, decide if, you know, I really want to do it, and the emotional aspect, and then I physically get up, I drive here, I go and do it. And that's the process. Whereas when you're in your mental body, you think about something and it's there. It happens immediately. It's projected right in front of you. You project yourself or superimpose yourself in some reality. And that can be extremely disorienting and even frightening if you're not ready for that, or if you're not in control of your mind, or you don't or maybe you don't have the confidence to project your mind back into your physical body with confidence, and it feels like it's hard to get back into your body, which normally resolves itself anyways if you just do nothing. But that can be a very frightening thing, and then you're scared that you're not going to get back in, and now you're attracting that experience because you're scared. That emotion is so strong that it's locking you into the experience of being stuck out of your body. And these are dilemmas that I used to, get into and got burnt out and just checked out of that for a while. But I look around at the world today, and the TikTok dopamine saturation that everybody's dealing with, and the nervous system dysregulation. It's like people want to know what they are, who they are, and they're looking in all the wrong places. So I wanted to rant a little bit. I won't go too much further than this, but if you get your physical body tired enough and you keep your mind awake, it is a very absolute experience. It's almost like part of the laws of physics, but it's just not known yet. And all humans have it. All humans have it. So no one's more special than another, and we're a part of this whole thing. And that's actually why I'm out here, is because I feel closer to what I believe the human design is supposed to be doing, involved with the trees and nature itself. And when I'm too disconnected from it for long enough, or I don't make time for silence is the answer, I can get burnt out myself. So a little ranty. Sorry if this was unorganized, but I really haven't slept in 3 days. So I'm a little bit off, but this is actually a good time to make this video, and maybe I'll have an experience myself tonight just from thinking about it. So anyways, hope this was interesting for someone, and I'm gonna get to work here. I gotta mow some grass, but hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next video.